Hi, welcome to Liberty Park Music. I'm Michelle Huang, your piano instructor. In this lesson, we'll first learn about the major five-finger patterns beginning on the white keys. We will then look into several technical exercises and short pieces that will use these major five-finger patterns. A major five-finger pattern is a series of 5 notes having the pattern you see on the keyboard here. Whole step, half step, and whole step. The first note of the pattern is called a tonic, or designated as Roman numeral 1. The fifth note of the pattern is the dominant, or Roman numeral 5. Remember these terms, you'll hear them again in the next few lessons. Each five-finger pattern beginning on white keys will follow the same pattern of whole, half, and whole steps. For example, in D major, following this pattern results in these notes you see on the screen: D, E, F sharp, G, A. Take a moment, pause this video, and write out the letter names on the correct keys to form each of the major five-finger pattern. Now that you have filled in each keyboard, let's play each one of these. You will use the same fingerings for all the five-finger patterns, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right hand, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the left hand. We will start with C major, which is fairly straightforward. Now go to D major, which has one sharp F. Remember to raise your wrist in order for your hands and fingers to travel up to F sharp. The wrist then lower to play G and A. So the overall motion and shape is an arc. You can apply this arc motion of raising the wrist to play the black keys to the other five-finger patterns. For example, in E major, raise your wrist to play F sharp and G sharp, then let the wrist fall naturally back to A and B, again forming an arc. Same with F major. Raise wrist for B flat. G major. This one is easy. The only sharp is F, but it's not in the five-finger pattern, so all white keys share. In A major, raise your wrist for C sharp. The last one, B major, it's a little bit tricky because it involves playing black keys with your two shortest fingers, pinky on the right hand and thumb on the left hand. To avoid unnatural and uncomfortable twistings, move your entire hand closer to the fallboard and play in between the black keys. Play the following exercise that uses major five-finger patterns. Start with left hand C major five-finger pattern, followed by the right hand, then hands together. go through all the white key major 5-finger patterns until reaching the next C pattern. If you have a metronome, this is a good opportunity to practice developing speed in your fingers and keeping a steady tempo as you go along. A metronome is a great device to keep time and steady pulse in music. If you do not have a metronome, try to purchase one in your local music store or online. Set your metronome to quarter note equals 52. This means that you will fit 2 eighth notes into each click. After you're comfortable going through the 5-finger patterns at quarter note equals 52, you can continue and set a faster tempo and gradually work your way up. Next, we'll look into a short piece that will help you get familiar with applying the major 5-finger patterns into actual music. Here, we have a short piece in the key of A major. The first step when approaching a new piece is always to look at the notes and rhythms and look for repeating patterns. In this case, both hands are playing notes with the same letter names, exactly 1 octave apart. The lowest note, tonic, is an A, and the highest is an E, the dominant. So it appears to be that we will be using the A major 5-finger pattern to play this piece. Before we start playing, let's make sure we're comfortable with the rhythms and counting first. Let's clap and count the 8 notes. Since both hands are playing the same rhythms and letter names, let's just look at the right hand. This is fairly straightforward, especially many of the patterns do repeat themselves. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we will play and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's play hands together. Don't forget to raise your wrist to play the sharp notes, which in A major 5-finger pattern, there's only 1 C sharp. Let's play and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. After you practice this piece a few times, try counting silently in your head while playing. Next, add in dynamics and don't forget to lift your wrists between phrases. The tempo mark here is andante, which means walking tempo. Be sure not to drag the tempo and keep the music moving forward. Next, we will talk about a short piece called Bright Lights Boogie. As you can see, this piece is in F major, and if you look at the note pattern closely, you will see that the F major 5-finger pattern is the pattern that we will use to play this piece. Note a few places where the notes other than B is flatted. Also in measure 6, notice that above the note A flat, we are instructed to play that note with your left hand, which means we will keep our right hand where it is, crossing the left hand over the right hand to play the A flat with our number 2 finger. Then the right hand continues with the rest of the passage while the left hand returns to the previous position and play B flat. The key here is the left hand needs to travel simultaneously while the right hand is playing. You probably have also noticed that there's a new musical notation that you have not seen before. This is called the first and second endings. You will play the first 2 lines, go back to the beginning, play the first line again, then skip the first ending, which is the second line, and jump to the second ending, which is the third line to finish the piece. Previously, when we receive a new piece, we oftentimes practice hands separately first. For this piece, however, since one hand passes the melodic line onto the next, it would be a good idea to practice hands together right from the very beginning. We will, however, approach this piece by breaking it down into small chunks and practice hands together 1 line at a time. Looking at this first line, notice that the left hand plays the first 3 notes and then pass on to right hand, back to the left hand, and then back to the right hand. Paying attention to the changes of hands as you go and be mentally prepared to switch from one hand to another. Let's play this slowly. One of the mistakes often made here is holding on to the last note of each hand too long. Be sure that you stay true to each note value and not over-holding the notes. The second line is the line with the hands crossing each other. Let's practice that first so you're comfortable with the motion. Look at measure 5 and 6 and go ahead and get in the right position. Practice lifting the left hand right after playing the B flat, and as the right hand is playing D, F, G, left hand simultaneously crosses the right hand and play A flat. Lift right after playing the A flat and travel right back to B flat again. Practice this a few times before attempting to play the entire line. Now, let's play the second line together. Remember to not hold on to any notes longer than its indicated value. measure 8 on the first beat, be sure to play both notes on both hands together at the same time. The third line is fairly straightforward. Just again be mindful of your hands playing the notes together in the last 2 measures. Let's play the whole piece with the first and second endings in place, paying attention also to the dynamics, especially where it says mezzo forte, forte at the beginning, which means first time it's played mezzo forte, second time forte. In this lesson, we learn what a major 5-finger pattern is and how to apply it to all 7 of the Y major keys. In your homework, you'll find several more technical exercises and pieces that will not only help you develop your techniques, but also get you to familiarize yourself with these major 5-finger patterns. See you in your next lesson.